Hi, I'm Tamara Sanders, Instructional Technology Specialist for Phenix City Schools. And I want to talk to you about some things that are specific to instructional technology. And I just want to acknowledge how much I appreciate our technology department. We are blessed with some great hardware resources and some great software resources. I have a friend who recently moved to another state who formerly taught in our school district, and she was saying how much she misses all the things that she had access to in Phoenix City Schools. Just the teachers who are able to support each other with professional development, like our Red Camp that we had this summer. So there's a lot of information that we have in our responsible use policy that I want to look at with you. We're going to hit the highlights of it, but please note the shortened URL at tinyurl.com/PCSRUP for Phoenix City Schools Responsible Use Policy. Please read that. It has been updated in the last few months, so please read that. But I want to go over the highlights with you. Again, you see the Tony Stark quote there. We have so many privileges, and with those privileges come responsibility. I know you can read, so I'm not going to read all of these bullet points to you, but I want to explain some and give some examples for some. So, some obvious things here is that the technology is provided for instructional purposes. That's the main purpose of it, from email to the hardware to the software. It's not necessarily to help us in our personal lives, but in our professional lives. Also, it's important to know copyright laws. Here's an example for this one. One of the questions that I get asked almost every year is, if I have one book, let's say To Kill a Mockingbird, and I want my students to read that, can I digitize that book and distribute it to every student in my class? Well, if I only own one copy of To Kill a Mockingbird, I can digitize it, but I can only distribute it to one student in my class. I would have to own a copy for every student in my class in order to distribute it digitally to every student in my class. And usually somebody says, but you can do it. Yes, that's right. But what you can do and what you should do are not always the same thing. So it's important to know about copyright laws, and your library media specialist is really your best contact when you have questions about copyright. Most of you should know that we have two email addresses, your pcboe.net, which is your primary account, and your mypcboe.net, which is your secondary account. Just please make a point to check both of those. Hopefully we'll be moving into one platform soon and we can just check one email address, one email account, but for now, check two. Know that there is no expectation of privacy. So whatever you store, messages you write in email, whatever you store on the network, the school district owns that information, owns the server space where it is. And so just again, there's no expectation of privacy there. Here's one that some people sometimes are surprised about. Let's just say that you're the soccer coach or the beta club sponsor. It's a great idea to maybe have a Twitter feed or an Instagram page, so Facebook page, to notify parents and the community about things that are happening with your organization. But before you do that, you have to be approved by the superintendent or his designee, which is sometimes your building administrator. Likewise, if you're the soccer coach and you have a parent who says, hey, I'll man this feed for you, I'll man this page for you, they can do that only with approval from the superintendent or his designee. So please remember that. Last two things, again, we're very blessed to have the technology that we have, but we don't want to put too much confidence in it. For instance, a filter, it's not a substitute for you. So let's say you want to watch a video of something and it's 15 minutes long on YouTube. You watch the first 5 minutes of it and you say, okay, yeah, that's good. I'm sure the rest of it will be okay. Well, there's a chance that inappropriate content could slip through the filter. So you need to preview everything before you give it to your students. Because again, the filter is not a substitute for you. You bring the professional expertise to what you're giving to your students. Likewise, know that we have a very good network. We have technicians who are on it when there's an issue, but sometimes network connections go down. Just like last week, we've had some trouble with Wi-Fi. And so you always want to have a plan B, whether it's a pre-recorded video or something. You've got to have a backup plan for if there is no internet access or if there is no network. So let's talk about some common sense things. So obviously, if it's illegal, don't do it. Enough said. When you're at work, please work. And if you think about the other slide that talked about the purpose of all of our technology resources is for instructional purposes, that should reflect in everything you do. So if you are selling Mary Kay or Plexus, whatever the thing is now, that's great. I hope you can make a little extra money doing that. But a tagline or advertisement to that business does not belong in your professional email. Use your personal email for your side job and not your work email for that. Another thing that might not be common sense to everyone is that your students are students and they should not be your social media friends. Okay. We need to make sure that all communication between teachers and students happens on those approved platforms. Our Google email, Google Meet conferencing, Google Classroom. Okay. If you do that, you can keep yourself out of a lot of trouble. Let's talk a little bit more about social media. As an employee of the school system, really, no matter where you work, if you're an employee, you're a representative of that employer no matter where you go. Especially think about who your followers are on your Instagram feed or your Twitter feed or your Facebook page. If you have parents or grandparents of your students who are reading what you post, when you write something, type something, they make opinions based on our school system, based on what you write. It's just the way it is. So please use good common sense. Every organization has things that we need to get better on. Phenix City School System is no exception to that. So there will be things that we all need to work on. You need to work on. I need to work on. We need to work on as a school system. The place to discuss that is at your building with your building supervisor and not on social media. So let's handle those things professionally and not as a venting, not use social media for venting about your job or anything you don't like about your job. The beginning of the year is kind of stressful. May, again, gets to be stressful. So sometimes we get under stress or we get under the influence of anger or just exhaustion or anything else we may be under the influence of. If that describes you, then my advice to you is to just not be on social media at that time. That's when people tend to get into trouble, when they let their judgment down. All right, enough about that. Let's talk about professional development online. We are so fortunate with the vendors that we partner with, whether it be Google or Nearpod or Screencastify or Cami. Many of those vendors offer a way to have vetted certification. What I mean by that is, let's just say you want to learn about Nearpod in your pajamas on the weekend. You can do that by going to the Nearpod page and starting their certification. As a matter of fact, if you will actually start at the pcboe.net/ITS for instructional technology specialist, if you will start there, that's going to give you links to all of those certifications. And it's a good place to start too, because some of those certifications will give you a stipend. So you can get hours for completion, you can get recognition on social media, and then again, just have to check out that page. One of those certifications will give you a stipend. So if you get some introductory information this week or you have at your school on any of these programs, but you want to go further with it, then I would encourage you to get certified in one or all of these. Our library media specialists are certified, if I'm not mistaken, all of our library media specialists are certified in all of these categories, maybe with the exception of Cami, because that's a new one. But again, I encourage you to check out the instructional technology website there and go learn about certifications and how to get credit and hours for that. We always want to stop learning and just keep a watch on that page. As soon as things settle down just a little bit and we get school kicked off, I will add the Cami certification to that page so that you can get that one too. And if you have any questions about instructional technology in the Phenix City School System, see your library media specialist or shoot me an email. Thanks.